What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the X-Force 2-pack featuring Warpath and X-23. So let's see what we've got going on. Let's check it out. As promised, today we'll be taking a look at the X-Force 2-pack with X-23 and Warpath. Let's see what we've got going on. Taking a look at the package, we do have that more modern X-Force logo down at the bottom. You get your X logo at the top. Of course, you see Warpath there, X-23. You've got extra hands for both, an extra head for X-23 there. You've got your knives for Warpath. Flip it to the side. Marvel Legends series, X-23 and Warpath. Nice image down there. Flip it to the back. Expanded images here so you can see that. Love the artwork. Looks great. X-23 and Warpath. Some important information down at the bottom. Flip it to this side, slightly more expanded images and your X logo there. But let's get them out of the box. Fresh out of the box, I am glad that I held off on purchasing that X-Force multi-pack from years ago that featured Warpath and Archangel in it, right? Because now we've got updates, reissues, rehashes, if you will, for these characters. And for me, that's great. It's a needed addition for my display and something I didn't have to pay up for on the aftermarket. That's the plus side, right? The downside here is we are locked in this 2-pack. I didn't necessarily feel the need that I wanted to upgrade my X-Force X-23. Granted, this is a better figure because it does have a little bit better updated articulation to it. But it just wasn't a character on my radar for replacing at this juncture in my display lifespan, right? But here we are. We've got a nice update to it. She does look good, I will give you that. But for me, it's all about Warpath here. Let's take a closer look. Moving in closer, we can get a good look at X-23 here. Head sculpt looks great on this first sculpt here. As I mentioned, you are on a updated female body for these Marvel Legends, so that is certainly welcomed for an update to the collection. As I said, not exactly on my radar, but I am not gonna hate on the nice upgrade to the figure, right? And then here is a look at your alternate head. Great expression on here, really angry face. Both give you a little bit of an expression, but you know, you still have options. So I do love getting the options there, and we've got two great options here, so I'm here for it. Even though we are getting an upgrade here, we do still have these sort of weaker claws that really tend to warp. You can see even fresh out of the packaging, they're already kind of wonky, and that's definitely something that you can manage and fix on your own. But upgrades are always nice, right? For your articulation, the head will look down to there, chin touching the chest. Head won't look back very far because your hair is going to impede you there. You do get some movement there, a little bit of wiggle and movement around. Again, hair going to be the impeding factor. Arms do work all the way around. They go up to there, so you get good range on that. Upper bicep cut, double jointed pinless at the elbow. Nothing at your forearm, hinge at the wrist. You get that little bit of upper diaphragm in the torso there. Nothing at the hips, so you're certainly limited in your torso for this figure. Belt is a separate piece and moves freely. Legs kick up and out to there, back to there, out to there. Upper thigh cut, double jointed pinless at the knee. Boot cut there, and then hinge swivel at the ankle. You do get your extra claws on the toes as well, as you might expect. For comparison, here she is backed up against our previous X-Force X-23 in the black and gray here. So you can see body-wise, there are some good updates to the figure. Obviously, it's going to be in the pinless parts and then the joints, right? Like the arms on the elbows look much better on the updated version. One thing I will point out, though, is they did paint the buckles on that previous version and did not give us that luxury on this updated version. Granted, you get the claws on the feet down on the new one and not on our previous version. So again, working some upgrades. One thing to really point out is the color difference, as this lighter gray is going to lend itself a little bit better to some of the other black and gray X-Force figures we have. They've gone with a darker gray on this, which just makes all of these black and gray suit figures kind of not match in totality. Granted, they'll still look good on the shelf together. Quick head swap. The older head does fit on the new body quite nicely. Looks pretty decent. So if you want a third option, maybe a masked head without the really angry, expressive face, this is something that you could use as well. For your hands, you get your claw hands, obviously. You get a set of open hands. And you get your set of fists. Moving over to Warpath, which for me is the bread and butter for this pack. The whole reason I'm after it, right? I already had X-23 in the display. I needed Warpath. But, hey, we got both. So, taking a look at Warpath, obviously some of the primary complaints are going to be that it is on a pin body. It's a little, I don't love that. If we're getting a rehash of a character we already have, in some cases both, right? This is a figure that has existed in Marvel Legends previously. It's just been a long time, and this is certainly an upgrade to that. You just want to see things like the pins not be there. Does it take away completely for me? No. I'm still going to enjoy it. I still love that I have this version of Warpath for the display. Minor nitpicks, folks, that's all. Costume looks good, though. Again, it is on that little bit darker gray, so will match, but there will be some differences between them. You do get the sheath on the back there for your blades. Belt looks pretty good. And of course, it is on a more modern buck in general, so I do think it looks better than that older version because that just had some really outdated aesthetic to it. Head sculpt looks great. You get that mask in there, red eyes. I think it looks on point. I mean, it's what I want for my display. For your hands, you do get a set of fists, and you do get your open set of hands to carry your blades. Also, just to point out, the cuffs are a separate piece, so you can remove those if you'd like. Here's a quick look at your blades there, so that's good. That's a nice touch. Gonna display well. They'll slide right into the sheath. They can fit either way. You can double stack them on this side or go back to back if you prefer. For your comparison, here he is backed up against our previous Warpath, coming in about the same height, which you might expect, so I do like that. Both of these are great representations of the character for different parts of my display, so as I said, for me, it's really about getting this X-Force version of Warpath and getting that in the display. And then here's a look at both of them with some of their counterparts. As I mentioned, the grays are going to be off for all of these characters across the board. So some of these older ones, like the Wolverine, the Deadpool, they have that lighter gray with sort of a bluish hue to it, whereas these newer ones are coming with a more charcoal type gray, and then like your Deathlock and Nightcrawler kind of fall somewhere in between. You get where I'm going. So there's you'd like to see that really mesh well. What does that allude to, right? It just means that there are other versions of these older characters in the pipeline, right? That's how they run this game. We all know what's up. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. There is your X-Force 2-pack with X-23 and Warpath. A decent 2-pack. One that I was certainly looking forward to. Getting this Warpath into my X-Force display was absolutely on my list, and the main reason I went in for this 2-pack. X-23 does feature some good upgrades, so I mean, she'll certainly replace the previous version, although I did kind of like the previous head sculpt on this new one, so I may go back and forth on how I'm going to roll with that, but it's going to make a good impact on that display having these two characters, right? As far as the updates for X-23, they're good, but it wasn't a necessary addition to this. So maybe there are people out there who are just looking for X-23. If you're out there, I'm sure you're going to have an abundance of those hit the aftermarket, new or old, depending. So that's maybe something to look out for, right? Warpath, on the other hand, maybe you can get that older version now, but that I feel is the reason a lot of people are going after this 2-pack, which is why it was a locked in 2-pack, right? Again, they know what's going on. Anyway, folks, that's the 2 cents. I do appreciate you checking out the video. Of course, you can always find me on any of these socials down here. Most importantly, though, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe below. And until next time, take it easy.